Who is he to me? CCTV footage captures Tan Songyun asking about Shukai in tears. The sterile silence of the hospital hallway was broken only by the soft shuffling of nurses and the low hum of machines. But it was a single, heartbreaking whisper, captured in CCTV footage now circulating widely across media, that has set the internet ablaze and reignited public concern over Tan Songyun's fragile recovery. In the grainy but devastatingly clear footage, the actress is seen sitting up in her hospital bed, disoriented, her hair matted, and a faint bandage still visible across her forehead. Her voice is weak, barely audible over the sound of distant monitors. But what she says has shattered millions. Who is he to me? She asks tearfully, looking toward a photo on the side table, Shukai's photo. The very same Shukai who has not left the hospital since her relapse. The man who was once her secret, her protector, her heartbeat in hiding. Now a stranger in her mind. A memory torn in half. The footage, which insiders say was leaked from a security camera mounted in the corner of her hospital room, captured more than just confusion, it captured heartbreak. Songyun was seen clutching her chest as though physically in pain, her fingers trembling as they hovered above the frame that held Shukai's photo. "Why does he look so sad?" she asked the nurse nearby, her voice cracking. "Did I hurt him?" The nurse, caught between protocol and emotion, tried her best to soothe her. But Tan Songyun continued, her voice turning desperate. "Why do I feel like I'm missing something important? Who is he to me? Why does it feel like I've lost something I don't even remember having?" It was the first time since waking from her relapse-induced coma that she had spoken so openly, and yet, the very name that once brought her comfort now brought her confusion. Shukai's reaction, a man shattered. Sources close to the hospital staff confirmed that Shukai had stepped out for barely 20 minutes to grab a coffee, his first moment away from her room in over 72 hours, when the heartbreaking moment occurred. Upon his return, he was reportedly shown the footage by the head nurse in an attempt to prepare him. He broke. Witnesses say he fell to his knees just outside the ICU, shaking violently, whispering, "No, not this. Anything but this." Doctors had warned him about the possibility of memory gaps after her relapse, but no amount of warning could have prepared him for the brutal reality of being forgotten by the very person he refused to leave behind. "I waited through her silence. I would have waited through a lifetime of it," he told a friend in a quiet hallway, tears streaming down his face. "But to be erased from her heart, do you know what that feels like?" And yet, he didn't leave. That night, he sat in the hallway once more, back against the cold wall outside her room, refusing all offers of help. His manager reportedly flew in, urging him to return to filming obligations, but Shukai simply said, "She doesn't know who I am. But I do. I remember everything. Fragments of the past." As days went by, Tan Songyun began to regain bits and pieces of memory, but they came as flashes, cruel and unpredictable. In one moment, she laughed at the taste of strawberries, muttering something about someone who once fed them to her on set. In the next, she cried after hearing a male voice calling her Xiaoyun, not knowing why the name made her heart ache. Doctors have described her condition as partial retrograde amnesia, where emotional trauma causes selective memory loss, particularly tied to recent and emotionally intense events. And it's no mystery what those were. Her accident. Her ICU stay. Her whispered confession to Shukai when she thought she might not survive, "If I don't wake up, tell him I tried. Tell him I loved him more than I should have." Now, those moments are gone, lost behind a wall her mind built to protect her. But while she may not remember Shukai, her body still responds. Every time he enters the room, her heart rate spikes, her eyes linger a little longer on him than anyone else. Something buried deep still recognizes him. Still trusts him. And that's what he's holding on to. A quiet promise. Late one night, with the hospital lights dimmed and only the moonlight spilling across the floor, Shukai walked into her room. She was asleep, or so he thought. Gently, he knelt beside her bed, pressing his forehead against her hand. "I know you don't remember me," he whispered, voice choked. "But I remember every damn thing. Your laugh when you're tired. The way you say my name when you're angry. The way your fingers twitch when you're about to cry but pretend not to. I remember the accident. I remember begging you to hold on. And I remember your last words before the relapse. He pulled something from his pocket, a tiny folded note, worn from being opened and refolded dozens of times. Her handwriting. It was a note she had written months ago, tucked into his jacket pocket after a long shoot. Thank you for always being patient with me. One day, when the world is quiet, I'll tell you everything I've been too afraid to say. He pressed it to his chest and smiled through his tears. The world's quiet now, Songyun. And I'm still here. From the bed, her hand moved slightly. Her eyes opened. And though confusion still clouded them, she whispered one word. Kai. The world reacts. The footage of her breakdown, the stills of Shukai sitting outside her room night after night, and now rumors of her whispering his name again, have sparked a tidal wave of emotion online. Fans across the globe are rallying around both stars, flooding social media with messages of hope, empathy, and prayers for healing. Whether she remembers him or not, he's already part of her soul, one fan wrote. True love isn't always a fairy tale. Sometimes it's a man sleeping on a hospital floor for weeks, just hoping she'll recognize him again, another posted. And yet, even with all the outpouring of love, Shukai has remained largely silent publicly, only making one brief comment to a reporter spotted outside the hospital. She may not remember who I am to her, he said quietly, but I know exactly who she is to me. And I'll wait. As long as it takes. What comes next? Doctors remain cautiously optimistic, noting that her memory could return fully, partially, or not at all. But for now, they're focusing on stabilizing her emotionally, encouraging gentle exposure to familiar voices, environments, and objects. Shukai, it seems, is willing to be all three. The road ahead is uncertain, and every day brings a new question: will she remember their love, or will they have to build it again from scratch? But if there's one thing this saga has proven, it's that even when the mind forgets, the heart remembers in its own quiet language. And somewhere inside her, behind the trauma, the confusion, and the fear, Tan Songyun may already be hearing that language again. Because love, in its purest form, does not vanish. It waits. The silence that followed her whispered question was deafening. Who is he to me? Those 6 words, simple on the surface, sounded like a dagger being driven straight through Shukai's soul. And though Tan Songyun spoke them with innocent confusion, like a child waking from a deep, strange dream, their echo left irreversible cracks in a man who had endured everything just to see her open her eyes again. He didn't speak. Not right away. He stood frozen in the doorway, clutching the half-opened food container he had brought back for her. The chicken kanji had long gone cold. Not that it mattered now. She hadn't even looked up when he entered. Her eyes were locked on the photograph on her table. Their photograph. The one from that secret trip to Lijiang, where they'd gotten lost in the rain and taken shelter under a red parasol. She had insisted on taking that photo, soaking wet and laughing. Now, she stared at it like it was a riddle she couldn't solve. He keeps coming here, she whispered, looking at the nurse. He's always here. But I don't. I don't feel like I know him. Why does my chest hurt when I see him? The nurse's glance darted toward Shukai. She opened her mouth to respond but faltered. That was when Tan Songyun turned and saw him, really saw him. And something strange happened. Her breath hitched. Not recognition. Not quite. But something. She blinked hard, her eyes welling with sudden tears. Her fingers reached for the photo again, brushing the glass frame like it held a forgotten key. Was he, someone important? She asked, her voice trembling. Did he love me? Shukai stepped forward slowly. Every movement felt heavy, deliberate. Like walking through water with a weight tied to his chest. I still do, he said softly. She looked at him, startled by his voice. There was pain in her expression, but also confusion, a sense of betrayal she didn't even understand. Why can't I remember you? She asked, her voice cracking. There was a pause. Then he whispered the line that would break the internet hours later when leaked staff audio made its way to social media. Because the part of you that knew me was the part that almost died. She screamed in her sleep last night. The nurses had heard it. A scream in the middle of the night, ragged and raw. A cry for someone unnamed. Shukai had rushed into the room, pushing past 2 startled interns, only to find her tangled in her sheets, clutching her chest like it was on fire. "I can't breathe," she gasped. He had been by her side in seconds, holding her hands down gently, brushing her damp hair from her face. "I'm here. You're safe," he whispered, over and over. She stared at him, wide-eyed. "Why do you keep showing up?" she asked, sobbing. "You feel familiar, but I don't know your name. Are you haunting me?" Shukai almost laughed, choked on the pain in his throat. "I think I'm haunting myself," he said under his breath. That night, she fell asleep with his hand still in hers. She didn't let go. Not once. The memory that refused to come. In the days that followed, Songyun's doctors began showing her fragments of her life before the collapse, pictures, recordings, notes. Nothing worked. Every time she saw Shukai, she reacted, sometimes with anxiety, sometimes with curiosity, never with recognition. Her brain, traumatized from the physical and emotional toll of the accident and relapse, had locked those memories behind a gate even she couldn't find. And yet, the heart remembers what the mind cannot. It showed in the way her eyes softened when he walked in how she reached for his hand without realizing it, in how her pulse calmed the moment he whispered to her, even if the words meant nothing to her now. The video that changed everything. On the 5th day after her question, "Who is he to me?" Shukai made a bold decision. He asked the hospital staff for privacy and played her a video from his phone. Something no one else had seen. It was footage of the two of them rehearsing a dance scene late at night in a nearly empty studio. She was tired, barefoot, hair messy. He was trying to teach her a slow spin. She kept stepping on his foot, laughing so hard she couldn't breathe. "Stop it, you're bad at this," she said in the clip. "Then teach me how to fall for you more gracefully," he had joked. The moment had been real. Raw. Unscripted. Back in her hospital bed, Songyun watched the video silently. No tears. No laughter. Until it reached the last part. The part where she collapsed into his arms, giggling, and whispered, "Don't let anyone see this. If they know how much I care, I'll lose everything." Then, she touched the screen. Tears spilled silently down her cheeks. "I said that," she whispered, stunned. Shukai nodded, his throat too tight to speak. "But I don't remember saying it." "You will," he said. "One day. And until then, I'll remind you every single day what we were." She looked up at him, really looked at him. And then said the words he'd been waiting for. "Then stay. Please. I don't want to be scared of you anymore." A new beginning in the same love story. The doctors say her memory could return slowly. It may never fully come back. But something has shifted. She's asking questions now. Listening. Smiling at him more than anyone else. The world may see a woman trying to remember love. But Shukai sees a woman learning to fall in love with him all over again. And he's okay with that. Because some love stories are so powerful, they don't need memories to survive. They just need time.